What's up everyone, Scotty from Chernobyl Studios. Today we are going to check out the Rhino from Aurora DSP. Just want to say thanks to Dan and the guys out at Aurora DSP for sending me this plugin so I could make this video review for you guys. So, does Rhino suck? Let's find out. Alright, you just heard that in a mix, but before we go over what I did in the mix, I thought it would be cool to kind of do this Ola style, okay? Cheers, Ola. And do a little bit of live guitar playing here and just showing you, the different aspects of the plugin so you can get a better idea of just how incredible of a job that Aurora DSP have done. One thing for me when it comes to creating guitar tones and just working in general is I'm all about wanting to do things faster and more efficiently. And Rhino is hitting both of those directly on the head. So if we just look at the plugin here, it's very similar to Mammoth in that everything is linear, left to right, but it has all the things that you would possibly need when you're working with a guitar tone, be it rhythm or lead, okay? You'll need to mess with your input gain, you'll need a gate, you'll need an EQ stack, you'll need a drive of some type, different types, you need effects, you need EQ, you need an IR, and you need to be able to tighten up your guitar tone to get rid of the flabby low end. We'll get to all this in just a second. So all of these modules are collapsible and expandable by these arrow buttons here. This is really nice because even though we're just looking at the input and the gate, those are really the only things that we would need right off the bat if we're just looking at things like if I turn the gate off, you'll hear the guitar. So you hear all that white noise coming in, right? Well, if I needed to adjust the gate, it's right here. I can adjust the attack, the release. I turn it on and off again from here. And if we play it, we get a nice readout of what our signal looks like so we can more accurately set the gate. Fantastic. You can also change the slope of the high pass filter here. So if you're playing on a really low tuned guitar or an 8 or 9 string guitar, you're gonna want to high pass the low end out of your guitar anyway. So you could just bring that up straight away to like 50 or 60, and you're gonna take care of a lot of issues straight away playing into the plugin. Right? You can also make your input more hot, and you can also dictate how your input will sound. There are slight volume adjustments there, with normal being normal, hot, and smooth, and that's all depending on what pickups you're playing and what your guitar sounds like. I'm playing on passive pickups right now. If I was playing on my EMGs, probably would pick something different. It really depends on the type of sound you're going for, but the key point here that I'm making, and you're seeing already with the plugin, is that you have the option to do everything that you would normally have to do either with third-party plugins or maybe more finagly. You can just do straight away with the Rhino. Okay, so going from in to the pre, logical sense, right? The pre, if we open this, it's not complicated. It looks complicated, we just have a lot of things going on here. Now the first thing to note is that we have 4 dots up here. This essentially means 4 different pre characteristics. So if we just, if I just play, you can already start shaping your tone based on which of the 4 you like the most or what you're going for. So it's way easier to be like, oh, you know what? No, it's not really what I'm going for. Or, okay, it has that nice thick low end. Yeah, already kind of scooped. Yeah, a little bit more of what I'm going for. So you can start from here and you'll be way more successful in getting a guitar tone that you're probably after, instead of picking this one and then trying to do all this magic to try to get where you could be if you had just started with the correct pre. All right, so now if we look here in these lanes here, we have a screamer essentially, we have a brute, which as far as I understand, Dan told me from Aurora DSP that this is literally for really down-tuned guitars or 8 or 9 string guitars that need a lot of extra gain and a lot of top end to cut through a mix. So brute literally is just like all the gain, lots of treble, and it's pretty aggressive. I don't know if this is going to do anything. Yeah, you can hear that. It's pretty crazy. But for me in drop B, I really don't need that, so I'll go with the scream. And I'm really liking that. So tone, gain, level, all the 3 that you would assume would be on a regular tube screamer or a EQ, pre-EQ before going into the amp, is literally the same. We can also have a fuzz actually, which is pretty cool. So you got your fuzz pedal here. Sounds pretty cool, sounds pretty wicked. Could be something you could do for layering or guitar blending. But we'll go back to the scream. And then finally we have push, which is just a little bit of a compressor that they've included. Helps even things out a little bit. I think we'll leave it like that, maybe like 2, bring us up to 2. Awesome, I'm really liking the way that sounds. Then we have the drive, obviously, we can add more headroom to our guitar. We can drop the volume a little bit. Well, to be honest, I like this at 4. All right. Now we have our high pass and low pass and EQ, which I usually won't mess with until I've decided on an IR position, which we'll get to. But I want to talk about now this EQ section. So like I said, being that Dan works in the music industry and has worked with recording guitars, it's really cool that when you load in Rhino, it already has this sort of pre-done EQ shape. And this is important to note because if I play now, you'll note that the EQ is basically in all of the problem areas. And all these notches are in areas that you might want to boost or work with the guitar. So for example, if I wanted to jack up the gain, you know, right here about 1K or so, I get that chainsaw effect. Now let's say I'm playing in drop B. Maybe I want to adjust this frequency cut. You can. So it's all movable. You can do anything you want. Right, you can adjust everything, but the pre-EQ settings are literally in sweet spots of guitars. And a lot of the times you'll play guitar and you may not even have to move these. Just depends what tuning you're playing on. But it's great to see that he's put in the... Basically, he has the knowledge to understand that these are problem areas, or usually the first areas that a person would look at when trying to mess with the guitar tones or fix things or deal with particular issues. So that's really nice. Now, the other cool thing here is that we have an ability to match a guitar tone, basically. You can turn this on. As far as I understand, I didn't use this, but you can just play a guitar tone, you can get the tone, and then it'll create basically an EQ profile and essentially create the EQ or create the curvature that you need to get the guitar tone that you're looking for. That's really cool. I'm not aware of really any amp simulator itself that has this functionality just baked into the interface itself. Quite nice. All right. So now we have the power IR section here. I really like this one because there's a couple different things here that make this unique. So we can already select basically the bass of our guitar tone, for example. So you can see now that we're in a studio setting. And maybe we want a live setting. Or a flat setting. Me personally, I like to use the flat setting. Now from here we can adjust the presence, the resonance, just to fine tune our guitar tone even more. But really the thing that I would love to talk about here is that we also can select between 3 different types of IRs. All right, rhythm type, clean type, or lead types. And you see here that the highlights are changing, right? And I really like what they've done here. They've used basically words to describe the type of tone that you might be going after, right? Like a bestial tone or a rough tone, a monstrous tone, colossal tone. And I like this because it sort of removes the gap a little bit. Like if you're just getting into IRs and you open an IR folder and you see like SM57_1_45. What does that mean? Well, unless you understand the mic positioning and how it, it's placed on the speaker, which, if you have my guitar tone mastery course, you will. This is just easier to understand. Like, ooh, okay, rough tone. Okay, it sounds rough, right? I have an idea of what that could possibly sound like. So I definitely like how they're trying to use words, to help describe the different aspects of the speaker or the type of IR that you're using to get where you want to go. And all we have to do to change that was to grab this thing here and we just move it around, sort of like, a microphone, and we just find a blend that we want. So there are essentially 4 core guitar tone sounds that people like to use. And they're all represented here quite nicely. And it's just a matter of basically finding what you like. And I like that quite a lot. So we got a tone that we like, or that I like, really quickly. Now the last panel I want to talk about, we'll talk about effects here in a second, but the last panel has a really cool feature here, which is called tight. Now when you're working with guitar tones, especially in metal and low tunings, you have this phenomenon here. Kind of a low, tubby, low mids and lows. And they're tubby, flabby, and they need to be, you know, put under control essentially. Now, really, what you generally do, right, is you do all this, and then later on you throw in a multiband compressor, and you basically do some variation of the Andy Sneap trick, right? Well, now in this plugin here, all I have to do is turn this on, and it takes care of that problem for me. So listen, and we turn it on. Okay, now I know you're already thinking like, oh my God, you've killed the tone. Have not. Okay, all that low end, all that flubbiness, all that mid-rangey gunk is exactly what is masking the snare drum and the bass guitar and is contributing to low end mud in a mix. We don't need all this low end in a guitar. So by using this tight parameter here, we can adjust it. -3 sounds good. We still have the body, the initial body and the thickness of the guitar tone. We just don't have all that extra flub happening. But if we want to go back and add some more, it's not such a big deal because I haven't even touched the EQ settings here yet. All right, let's see. So there's low end in the tone, right? It's just not out of control, okay? And then finally we have a limiter because you need to limit, right? So if you have that whole chain in your guitar chain, right? Your multi-band, your EQ, and then at the end you have usually L1 or some kind of limiter. So we'll do the same thing here. I'm just gonna already kind of do lower the output here so I don't crush the speakers. So I'll just hit a power chord here and then we'll hit the limiter. And you can see here we have this little graphic showing how much gain reduction we're doing. I'm not real sure how much this is. I'd probably guess it's like 1 or 2 dB, which is normal. Right, and you have the ability to adjust the out parameter to change how much volume or how much is coming out of the plugin once you limit it. Now that's fantastic. So I've done all this basically in a short span of a couple minutes while explaining this to you. But when you're working on this and not doing a YouTube video, it's going to be much faster. And I love how everything that I need that basically is required to work on guitar tones, it's right here in the plugin. I don't need to install any other plugins or insert any other plugins or mess with any other plugins. Just it's all right here, and I really like that. Now, I do want to talk about the effects section here because, again, I was just talking about it's nice to not need to really use anything else, and it couldn't be any more true when we're talking about effects. I can't tell you how many times I've been working on something, and I'm like, oh, I wonder what this would sound like with a chorus effect on it. And then I go, oh, I don't really have a chorus effect. Oh, where did I? And then now I've lost my idea because I was too busy thinking about where the effect was or trying to install it or insert it. Not the case here. Same thing here. We can just expand this and then we can adjust all the parameters of our flanger, chorus, or phaser, and they all sound pretty cool. Nice, and you can stack them, of course. You could have all 3 of them on. Cool. So you can do all that, no problem. And then you can adjust however you want them to work. And then when you close this, you'll have the mix sliders here. So you can adjust how much of the signal is in the guitar tone. Same thing with delay and reverb. Now you have basically two types of delay, and then a classic reverb and a convolution reverb. You can select from reverbs that they've included, or you can bring in your own reverb IR files. Do whatever you want. This is exactly the same concept here. You have your echo, or you can do a regular delay between classic, slapback. Really cool for making solos sound bigger than they are. And then ping pong. So those are basically the three most used guitar reverbs that I've used when I work on things. So right here in the plugin, don't have to go looking for anything else. I love it. Reverb is reverb, right? Got to do a black metal riff. Okay, reverb is reverb, pretty self-explanatory. Convolution reverb, let's just pick all around, sure. Great, sounds awesome. Why am I not surprised, right? So delay and reverb are all right here. And then again, you collapse this one, you have the mix sliders here, everything right here. And I really like that when sometimes it happens, you have a plugin and it's collapsible, and you collapse it and all the most necessary things that you would want to mess with are like disappeared, right? It seems like the most useless knobs and the most useless settings are on the collapse version. This isn't the case here with Rhino. I mean, generally when you set your flanger or your delay, you have it where you want it. Usually you just want to mess with the mix, right? Well, here you go. You have the mix sliders right here. Don't have to click anywhere else. It's all just a single interface. I know I'm repeating myself on that. I'm just really excited about what this is going to be able to do for me when I'm working on clients that I need to do a rhythm and a lead tone, and then I need to have, chorus, delay, reverb, and now I can just do it with one singular plugin. So I'm quite impressed with this. So not only does it sound amazing, I think it speaks for itself. Maybe less mids. You can hear every single note. Sounds great, great articulation. It's a great sounding amp sim, and the interface is fantastic. So now that we went through a little bit in solo here, let's go ahead and open the mix that I did that you heard in the beginning of the video. Let's talk about what I did. All right, so here we are in the recorded session. As you can see, it's just double track, no quad track in here. Double track, bass, drums, nothing crazy happening at all. So with Rhino here, the settings are kind of similar to what I did with the demo I just did now, but the only difference here is I used my black BC Rich War Beast Deluxe, which has EMGs in it. So it was a little bit different straight from the get-go, but let's just go ahead and solo the guitar tone the way it is without anything else going on. And that's the guitar tone I got. If we go over here, this is all I've done here. Like I said, the EMGs are a little bit different, so the settings are a little bit different. I turned the tight on, or excuse me, I had the tight off because, I don't know, EMGs are a bit more compressed anyway. There's kind of like no low end sometimes. But the other thing about it was I was in standard D. So standard D tuning, obviously you don't have the same issues that you're going to have with drop B. So that also played a factor. I just... I set the IR the way that I wanted it here and went to town. The EQ is right here. I don't think I did anything. I think it's literally just the stock EQ that opens with Rhino. And that's it. Didn't do a darn thing to it. And it already sounds amazing. I don't even think I messed with anything. No, I didn't even do a high pass or a low pass. Nothing. This thing, I literally did I think I just set the IR the way that I liked it, and I changed the EQ stack a little bit. So we have 1 on treble, -1 on mids. Oh, we had +2 on lows. And then drive is 4, which is how it comes when you open the plugin. That's all I did. I know you guys are probably like, oh, come on, Scott, you did something else. Not really. I did do a little bit of extra EQ, though, but not much, as you can see here. Just 2 resonance cuts and then like a mid cut here. Let's have a listen. Sounds pretty good. And then finally I did add Soothe, which is just going to help tame the presence a little bit. It just ever so slightly gets rid of that upper mid-rangey crunch, which I'm not a huge fan of. And that's all I did. That's it. That's all. Yeah, that's all. So Rhino is an extremely easy amp simulator to use. It's got all of the features that you would need to make guitar tones right at your fingertips, right in the same interface, and it's really fast and easy to use, and highly recommend it. All right, guys, that's all for this video. Once again, thanks to Daniel and Aurora DSP for sending me this plugin so that I could do a video review. It's an amazing plugin. Well worth picking it up and having it in your arsenal. Speaking of that, I have a link to that down below. It is an affiliate link. Just so you guys know. So if you click the link and you buy it through my link, I will get a little bit of it. Dan will get a little bit. Aurora gets and myself. So it's a win-win for everyone. So please go ahead and click the link below and grab Rhino. You're gonna love it. It's awesome, and I think you guys are gonna enjoy creating killer tones faster. So that does it. Thanks a lot. Please hit like, subscribe, bell notification. I don't know, whatever else that we're probably going to have to do in the future for YouTube for the YouTube algorithm to show my videos to you so you don't miss future uploads. But don't forget, I live stream once a week, Saturday. So I send you out an email. So if you're on my list, you get notified. But come say hi on Saturdays. We do some live mixing, talk, jibber jabber. It's a lot of fun, all right? So that's all for this video, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Have a good one.